Hi, and welcome. You're listening to the X22 Report. My name is Dave, and this is episode 1996A, and today's date is October 15th, 2019, and the title of the episode is IMF Central Bank Right on Schedule. The economic trap has been set. Now, before we get started, let's talk about investing in the market. There's never been a better time in history to invest in the stock market and cryptocurrencies. Trade Genius over the last 30 days have netted its traders nearly 40% on their money from spot-on crypto and stock trades. Their binary options program overall record is now at 161 wins with 11 losses, and cryptocurrency trades are up over 550% on the year. Right now through October, for their Halloween specials, you can save over 50% off their bundle specials, and or use promo code Halloween40 for 40% off all non-bundled items. Check out TradeGeniusAcademy.com. Tell them X22 Report sent you. Let's get into the economic collapse financial news. Now, the central banks around the world, they're seeing the writing on the wall. They are realizing that they are no longer in control of spreading what is happening in regards to the economy. They are trapped. They're exposed right now. Remember, the central banks, they've always had the upper hand. They were always behind the curtain. No one was really supposed to know they were calling the shots. Everyone thought the governments, their elected leaders were calling the shots. And now, the tables have been turned on them. They're no longer calling the shots. The curtain has been drawn back. The central bankers, and I'm talking about the private Western central bankers, in Europe, in the United States, the IMF, the Biz, the Rothschilds, they're exposed right now. The world is watching. And this has to happen for a little bit of time. The patriots need to educate the people. The people need to understand what the central bank is all about. If you go up to a person on the street, most of the people, they believe the Federal Reserve is part of the government. They don't even know it's a private corporation. And if you ask them about the IMF or the Biz, they won't even know what you're talking about. They have no clue. And this is why all of this has to be done in a way, just like exposing the deep state, showing who all these characters are. It's the same exact process. You just can't spring it on the American people. Now, I'm not saying that the people are dumb or stupid or whatever you want to call it. What I'm saying is that they're not informed. They've been paying attention to the mainstream media. They've been paying attention to certain politicians. Or they haven't been paying attention at all because they had no interest in it. And this is why Trump and the Patriots, they need to make the people understand that the private Western Central Bank, that is the main problem. How do you do this? How do you bring the people into the fold who've never been in the fold, who really haven't paid attention, or they believe that the central bank system is working to the benefit of the people? You have to show them. You have to show the people what's really going on. How do you do that? Well, you have to make the economy look great. You have to show the people, look, we're bringing back jobs. Unemployment's very low. Wages are going up. The stock market's going up. Precious metals, that is going up. And we're making this economy the best economy ever. Now, people can wrap their brains around this. Remember, if they have a job, they're making more money, they're saving more money, the market's going up, the pensions are safe, people remember this. When this is all taken away, people remember that. And they want to know who's responsible for that. That's why Trump has been building this up. Now, that's not the only reason. He needs to win the 2020 election. And controlling the economic narrative, that's how you win it. And at the same time, prepare the economic system for this transition, build this system that he's building right now, and make it work parallel to the central bank system. We saw this back in the 60s. We had the petrodollar system being built, and we're on the gold standard until 1971 when they switched them. Well, this time around, they're just going to switch them back. But guess what? This time, it will benefit the people. This time, people will realize who is responsible for all the poverty, for the wealth gap, for everything that's been done, these up and down cycles that we've experienced throughout our lives. The Great Recession of 2008, 2009. They will understand and they will know who is responsible and who caused all of this. And this is what Trump and the patriots are doing. This is why Trump tweeted out the following. Just out. Median household income is at the highest point ever. How about saying it this way? In the history of our country, also, more people working today in the USA than at any time in history. Tough numbers for the radical left Democrats to beat. Impeach the president? He just made the entire economic system incredible. People see this. They feel it. They know it. Now, we know that this is a lot of stats that are being brought out by Trump. He's using the same exact weapons that the central bank, the mainstream media, has been using. But what he's been doing is he's been creating a lot of jobs for minorities. And what they've been seeing is their unemployment numbers going down, their wages going up. And this is why he's moving in this direction, to close the wealth gap. Now, right on schedule, and this is all according to the Patriots' plan, the IMF came out and said, listen, there's a synchronized global slowdown. This is the weakest we've ever seen in our life. And it's because of the trade wars. So already, they fell into the trap. This is exactly what Trump and the Patriots want. They want the private West Central Bank to say why the system's slowing down. Because they're going to get caught up in their lies. And you can see how this is all being set up. Now, if you go back in time and you look at the IMF Global Economic Growth Outlook, and you go back to the year 2011, 2012, 2013, 2014, guess what? The Global Economic Growth Outlook was awful. It only popped up when Trump came into office. And then it slid right back down again. And if you go back in time to the 90s, to the 2000s, every time we had a recession, the global economic growth outlook was much lower. So this is not out of the ordinary. This is something that we've seen before when the central bankers decided to have a recession. This time, they're not deciding it. This time, their system is breaking down because we are at the end stage of the central bank system, and there's nothing they can do. They're saying that the world economy faces difficult headwinds. The global growth estimate for 2019 was as high as 3.9% in mid-2018. But the latest report suggests the world economy will grow 3% this year, down from 3.2% seen in July, with the 2020 estimate lowered to 3.4%. Now, you need to understand, the IMF always projects very high numbers. Then they backtrack. So what they're talking about right now, and when they say a synchronized slowdown in an uncertain recovery, they're talking about their system, which is imploding right in front of our eyes. And they're blaming it on the trade war. Now, when Trump makes this deal, he's completed phase 1. When he moves into phase 2, and of course I hear all over the mainstream media that phase one is not really a big deal. Of course it's a big deal. We got through phase one. China agreed. They might backtrack a little bit, but eventually, with what's going on in China, the U.S. has the leverage with food, with pork and their crops and everything else. They know this. And we need to remember that negotiations, there's always a push and a pull and a pull and a push until you meet in the middle. And this is what we see happening right now. And Trump is in no rush anyhow. The tariffs are in place. Companies are moving out. Companies are saying, listen, if this keeps up, we can't stay here that much longer. We either have to move to a different country or come back to the United States. He'd rather have that happen and then make the deal. He's in no rush. It's 2019. He has 2020 to make this deal. And once this deal is made and there is no trade war and the global economy does not improve, because as you can see out in Europe with negative interest rates, with stimulus, with the way the countries look in the European Union, Germany, Spain, Italy, France, this has nothing to do with the trade wars. This has to do with the central bank system imploding on itself. The patriots are setting them up. And they're buying into it. And they're going along with what the patriots want them to do. There's no way out for them. There's not going to be an event. There's not going to be a war. Actually, with the Middle East breaking down, when I say breaking down, I'm talking about that Trump is breaking everything down, bringing home the troops, and dismantling the petrodollar system. Once this is done, and the countries in the Middle East decide to sell their oil not using the petrodollar, what do you think happens to the global economy? This has nothing to do with trade wars. This has to do with removing the entire central bank system, dismantling it in front of everyone. And they can't hide. They can't hide behind an event. And this is the most important thing. You can't allow them to hide behind anything. They have to be completely exposed. So the people understand that they're responsible for what just happened. And don't worry. As that breaks down, Trump and the patriots will just come out and say, hey, well, we've been preparing a sound money system. We're going to be transferring everything into this sound money system. We're going to be going back to gold because the private Western central bank system, the fiat system, completely imploded on itself. They did this in 71. They said, hey, we're going to take you off the gold standard because we just created a brand new fiat system controlled by the central bank, and they have full control over it. Of course, they didn't say it in those words. They used gold speculators. They didn't even mention the petrodollar. Instead, they said it was an oil crisis. The same thing is happening now. And yes, it's going to be bumpy. Yes, it's going to be difficult for many people. Yes, the fiat Fed note, it's going to lose value. It's lost value for a very long time. If you have gold, silver, land, or anything else, that will help you in the end. But I do believe the patriots, for this transition, they're preparing to make sure that it doesn't hurt the main population. Not the way the central bankers would have it done. I do believe they have other plans to make sure that the transition is smooth as possible. Yes, there's going to be bumps along the way. Yes, there are going to be those that get hurt really bad. Yes, there's going to be those that weather the storm. But on the other side, it's going to be much, much better for the people. It's going to benefit the people. And this is why I've been saying for a very long time, no matter which way we look at this, the central bankers were going to do it. It was going to be a complete and utter disaster. war, credit freezes, you name it. Trump and the Patriots, it's going to be a bumpy road, but you still need the same exact thing that you needed before to weather the storm. You need precious metals. You need food. You need water. You need all these things. I mean, think about it. Go back to the 70s for a sec. Think about all the people that couldn't get fuel, couldn't get a job, couldn't get anything during this period of time. Look at the UK. They had like power outages. It was a disaster. We're going to experience a little bit of this, and this is why I'm saying everyone needs to be prepared and ready for it. Listen, everyone, thanks a lot for listening. Be well, be safe, and especially be prepared. Thanks a lot.